Steve Harvey. All right. Got 20 minutes. That's enough time. Man. Pickett. All right. In about 30 seconds, I got to go. All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. I'm trying to pick up where I should have started off yesterday. Had to run out at the last minute to straighten something out, so I thought, but evidently I got crossed anyway. So when you get crossed, oftentimes you don't find out till it's too late, and that's what happened to me. So today I got to pick up all the pieces and make sure things are all right. Kind of like what's going on with the NFL players now, or the ex-NFL players who, a lot of them have been cut. Cut day was yesterday, and a lot of notable names, as always, are going to be on that cut list. I haven't perused the whole list yet, but before I even get to talking about that, I need to get caught up on what I should have been talking about yesterday. I had told you just hours before the news broke that the Browns were more likely to make a move with that quarterback situation. I thought that Pickett Sanders would be the one that got dealt, but they didn't deal Sanders, they dealt Pickett. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Pickett, we didn't see him all preseason due to his minor injuries, but you also knew that Pickett was a serviceable quarterback of sorts, that if you had to throw him out there for a start or two, you know that he can do it. So the real competition was between Sanders and Gabriel. Well, of course, Sanders came in with all the fanfare, and everybody wanted to see him do well. And Gabriel kept his head down and didn't say much. He went to work. And every single thing that he said or did, we want to try to attribute it as an insult to Shedeur, because he seemed to be the favorite quarterback over Sanders. Well, let me start right there. And all the time you've been hearing how Sanders has been done wrong, and he's not getting a full chance. And I played somewhat of a role in that, but I'm just calling it the way I see it. You know, most of the time, fifth-round choices, they don't get a whole lot of reps. So it's not unusual. But it is important in this case because of who the player was getting those fifth-round reps. In short, all the noise that you've been hearing from all the commentators were out of respect for Deion. A lot of the former players who have podcasts, they saying all these things about he's being sabotaged, so on and so forth, primarily because of their friendships with Deion. Whether they really believe that or not, I don't know. But one thing's for sure, and I said this before all the things shaked out, that the Browns see these guys competing every day. They know what they're looking for as a team. And just because your name is this and you're not getting in a position where people think you should be doesn't make you still better on the depth chart. So something they've been seeing in Cleveland to make them think that Dillon Gabriel was a better choice. So Gabriel was penciled in behind Pickett at that third pick, at the third round draft slot, and he was going to be in the third slot there, followed by Sanders. Now that they traded Pickett, that gave new life to Sanders. Some people thought he might have been cut. I thought he was going to be traded, get some value out of that pick. But the Browns, they've been cooking this up all along. When Aiden O'Connell got hurt with the Raiders, they had to reach out somewhere to get a quarterback, and the obvious choice had to be Cleveland. So it helped solve a problem for the Browns. So Pickett might just be in a better situation because if Geno Smith goes down, then he's the next guy up. And in the Brown situation, the number 2, Gabriel, he's going to be the next guy up. And if you look at the stats, seems to be that he's outplayed Sanders all along. But like I said before, that's preseason. The training wheels off. No more colored jerseys unless you're in practice. It's all live fire from this point. So because you behave or play one way in a safe environment, how are you going to respond when it's time to play for real? No more vanilla defenses. No more calling off the dogs. If you don't understand what I'm saying, take the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. Tyson probably could have knocked Paul out in the first 30 seconds if that's what he wanted to do, even at his advanced age, because you see holes that could be exploited that the layman can't see. He's probably going to be quicker than the younger fighter, even though the younger fighters should automatically be quicker. But Tyson, being a professional fighter, is going to see holes that Jake didn't know he had. And because this seems to be an arranged fight and the result was already predetermined, Tyson didn't take those opportunities that he knew he had. He backed off. Well, that's what they do in the NFL. Defenses, they pull back. They'll let you score 20, 30 points and get your fan base excited, and your team might go 3-0 in the preseason, so you think you're going to win the Super Bowl. But hell, the teams that win all the games in the preseason, those be the teams that don't win anything. You don't believe me? Ask Jacksonville. The last couple of years they went, before this year they went 3-0 in the preseason and didn't do a damn thing. So it's not unusual for teams to go undefeated and not do well in the regular season. So I'm saying all that to say that Gabriel, yeah, you're the number 2 guy now. So if something happens to Joe Flacco, and anything could, being at his advanced age of 40, he can have a back spasm and can't get out there. You're going to be the next guy up. And then that experience you get when you go out there on that field is going to be far different than it was when you were in practice trying to win a job. But having said all of that, it goes back to the main point I made about Shedeur. Regardless of where you drafted, you still have an opportunity to compete. He's got to learn that playbook, and he's got to prepare as if he's going to be the guy that's starting, because he's only 2 plays away from getting out there on that field. So he's got to go out there like he's going to be ready the whole time, and he's got to keep the attitude like, I am going to be ready, and take it from there. Now, if he does play well, look for the Browns to rip up that contract, especially with both of them, and give them both good deals. But the question is, how long are you going to keep both of them? It's my understanding they got multiple first-round picks next year, and everybody's gushing all about this guy, Arch Manning. Only because of what his name is. But just because his last name Manning don't mean he's going to do anything in college, and especially the next level. Let's see what he can do first in college before we start anointing him a first-round pick and all this other crap. Now, he does have the resources. He's going to get the knowledge, or can get the knowledge from his relatives, so that won't be a problem. But he's got to show us what he can do. And we're going to find out about him come Saturday when Texas goes into Ohio State. It's a day game, which helps them out. They don't have to sit around Columbus all day waiting to play. They get up early, get into their normal early game routine, and go from there. And shit, by the time nightfall, they'll be home. I think Ohio State laid the egg with that one. They should have scheduled that game for night, and that would have been a great atmosphere for Texas to go in there at night. But the stage is set for Manning to either be a flop or be a hero. But that crap about him, had he played last year against Ohio State in the playoffs, that they would have won? I don't think so. He had a limited repertoire to me. His eyes were big as a quarter, and he'd take off when things didn't look right. Well, he was more agile than yours. But when it came to running that offense, I didn't see Arch was so much more better than Quinn Ewers. He's got a bigger name, but Ewers overall was a better player. So now with some experience under his belt, and he gets to lead the charge out there to see just what he's going to do. But as far as him winning the Heisman and all that, man, keep your money in your pocket till you see what this guy does. And if Ohio State shows him up, then that's what you're going to get from Arch Manning for the balance of the season. Because you know Georgia and them other teams in the SEC waiting on Texas. They don't like the way they're doing business, and a lot of them crying foul. A lot of them wish they just gone back to where they came from. But with this big money stakes now, that's unlikely. In other words, these people in the SEC are used to certain things. They're used to great games, they're used to big stadiums, but they also are used to playing against themselves. Sure, the top 1 or 2 teams, SEC is good for that, but that doesn't mean the whole conference is like that. And if you notice, the last couple of expansions that they had in the SEC, what happened? You had teams from the Big 12 came in and made noise immediately in the SEC, who's supposed to be supreme and dominant over others. Well, I saw it when Texas A&M came in there and knocked some heads off. Missouri went to a couple East SEC championship games, and now Texas come in, they go to the SEC championship game. So the crap that people are saying about this team, this conference being so much more superior than everybody else, that nobody else can compete, that's been proven wrong with the last couple expansions. And not to say that the SEC hadn't been the best. They've had the best team or two, but they're not top to bottom superior to everybody else. And I think that reputation comes from the schedules that they played in the past. They played a bunch of cupcakes, and their conference schedule looks awfully well. But when they get into the bowl game and they lose, they don't talk about how great the SEC is. They sweep it under the rug. But as soon as they come back and steal a game, then you hear it. SEC. Man, get the hell out of here with that BS, man. All those conferences are set up just alike. You got 2 or 3 teams at the top, you got 2 or 3 teams at the bottom, and everybody else is right in the middle. And now that SEC teams like Florida have to go out and play other teams mandated by the SEC, now you start to see the truth. Because Florida, it was one of those teams that wouldn't play anybody. They'll play once every 8 or 9 years. They'll step out and take a chance. And if they lost, you won't see that for a while. Like when they went to Dallas and got whooped by Michigan, you didn't see that for a while until they started playing Utah. Utah a couple years ago came to Florida, and then they went out to Utah. It was great to see Florida going somewhere else besides the local neighborhoods. But now they're going to be forced to play, and they're going to have an extra conference game to play also. So you're going to have 10 tough games, and then with having to play Florida State, what cupcake game is Florida going to sign now? You've gone down for a couple that you can do, and now you're going to be limited to one. And it's going to be tough sledding for the Gators, but overall it's going to be a boom for them because now they can see, they can expand their brand of sorts and realize that they could play with these people, but you can't hide behind the SEC anymore. You got to go out and play. But that's my take on that. But the question is Kenny Pickett really in a better position out of Cleveland, or should he have been allowed to stay? Because the Browns, of course, anytime the team gets rid of somebody, we really liked him, and it's unfortunate we had to get rid of him. No, I don't believe that. Because if you really wanted to keep him, you could have kept him. You could have got rid of one of those 2 rookie quarterbacks. Because what's going to happen is, let's just say both of them play real well. You can't keep both players on the roster. I mean, how long are you going to keep them before somebody else wants to come along and pay X amount of money to get rid of them, for you to get rid of them? So eventually, those 2 guys are going to part. And also, I've heard that it's not a good idea to keep 2 veteran quarterbacks on the roster. But I don't see how it's any better to keep 2 rookie quarterbacks on the roster with 1 veteran presence. I don't see how that adds up. I would rather have 2 veterans than 2 rookies, because if Joe Flacco go out there the first play of the game or pull Aaron Rodgers and don't make it through 5 plays of the season, now you stuck with a rookie quarterback to guide you through the season. And as good as Cleveland's defense is, they might not be good enough to stand up for them to win any kind of games. People aren't expecting much from the Browns anyway. as far as competition goes, being in that division that they're in. So the Brownie fans won't accept that. We had a chance to hang out with them when they came to Jacksonville a little bit last year, and that was pretty interesting. Some of the comments that they make about the Browns. Give me a different perspective of the Browns fans. So it's very possible that they could end up with a rookie quarterback guiding them through most of the season, either one or the other. And for the fact that they got rid of a veteran quarterback, it puts them in a bad situation, and they might have to go out and find another veteran quarterback to come in and save them. So my question is, again, is Pickett in a better place? And a side question to that now is, if they put the two rookie quarterbacks in and they fall on their face, is it possible that they can make a deal to bring Pickett back to the Browns? Unlikely, but something to think about. But it just opens the door for what I said last week, and people ripped my head off for it. Deshaun Watson is still the fly in the ointment. There is nothing wrong with Deshaun Watson's arm. It was his ACL that went bad. I think he's blown out both of them. And you know what the surgery techniques they have now, they can repair you now better than you were before. So once he's able to play again, he may not last in Cleveland for a long time. But if those two rookie quarterbacks are playing bad and Watson comes back off IR, say in November, why wouldn't the Browns throw out Watson? You're already paying him. Why not throw him out there just to see what he can do? He knows the offense. And what if he plays well? Then what do? You get rid of Watson? You know, Flacco is going to be gone anyway, but nobody wants Watson's salary. So what do? I'd be interested to see just how this goes. And by them getting rid of Pickett and having Flacco as old as he is, you know, he's not really a regular season quarterback anyway. He's serviceable. If he gets you to the playoffs, then he becomes much more dangerous. But even then, you're going to have to protect him. And if he has to get out of his element and start taking a bunch of licks, he's probably not going to make it through the year. So you're going to bring in one of those young mobile rookie quarterbacks. But if they can't do the job and Watson is available, I'm telling you right now, if there was a betting line, I would guarantee you that Watson would take a snap at some point this year for the Cleveland Browns. Watch and see. All right, let me look. I haven't been paying attention to the chat here. Caleb McNeely, how you doing, man? Hope you're still around. Cleveland hasn't made the right move since they've been in the league. Yeah, well, Cleveland was actually a pretty brutal program for a while. They've had some great players come through Cleveland. They had some great teams. A lot of hard luck, but that's the nature of pro football. But I wouldn't say they hadn't done anything right. I think the worst thing they did, they put the cross on Art Modell. Art Modell, all they wanted was a new stadium. The Indians got a new stadium. Hell, the Cavaliers, they've been in more than one place since Modell's been out of there. But they wouldn't build a football-only stadium because they thought that they had the Browns forever. Okay, Modell calls Baltimore, cuts the deal with them, and next thing you know, the Browns go to Baltimore, become the Ravens. So now all the people in Cleveland are crying, oh, Art did us wrong. No, he didn't. All he had to do was come up with a deal to get a stadium, and he would still have the original Browns. Wouldn't have been no Ravens. Well, lo and behold, they come up with the money to get a new stadium. And the league, since Cleveland is one of the foundation teams of the league, even though they didn't start out in the NFL, they started out in the AAFL. I told you that this last week. In 1946 is when the Browns started in the AAFL with Otto Graham as their quarterback. They won the league 4 straight years, the 4 years of its existence right after the World War II. At the time, the NFL team in Cleveland was the Rams, the Cleveland Rams. After the 49 season, the Cleveland Rams moved to LA, became the LA Rams. And lo and behold, this upstart team out of AAFL joins the NFL to replace the Cleveland team as the Cleveland Browns. Bush League team, they call them. Well, they weren't Bush League. Paul Brown was way ahead of everybody with his innovative schemes because the people in the NFL had their minds locked and they used to plan a certain way. and Paul Brown showed him something. So guess what? They made it all the way to the championship game, and guess who else made it to the championship game? The former 1949 Cleveland Rams. So the 1950 championship was the LA Rams versus the Cleveland Browns. So the city of Cleveland, they could lay claim to both teams in that championship. And they played again the next year, and the Rams came back and won that one. I mean, the Browns won the second time, but the first time the Rams ended up winning that. But that was a pretty monumental jump for them to go that far. So as far as them making the right moves, I can't say all of that. There's a long history there with Cleveland. I think they hadn't done so well since they came back, but maybe that's the curse of Modell. All you had to do was give the man a stadium, and he'd have been happy with all of that. So we'll see. All right. They should have traded Shador instead of the Browns. Well, I don't know. I think I know what you're trying to say. I think you're trying to tell me that they should have traded Shador instead of Pickett. That's what I thought they would do, because I didn't really think they wanted Shador. But this move shows you that they like Shador more than we thought they did. But it also tells you that they've been looking at Shador since he came into camp, and Dylan Gabriel, and they can see that Gabriel is ahead of Sanders. So all the people that's crying foul about this guy being sabotaged and not getting enough reps, which I've said the same thing, but it's only based on the fact that he's a fifth-round pick. He has to deal with that. He's not going to get any special favors because your dad, Hall of Famer. And because of that, all the outrage is because of respect for Dion. But in reality, they know in their hearts that this guy seems to be outplaying the one that they want to win this job. It would be great, a great story, great ending for people who want to see that. But in reality, it's clear to me that Gabriel has outplayed Sanders. Now, it gets to become reality when Gabriel hits the field again, because now it counts. He's going to be seeing stuff he didn't see in the preseason. Then we're going to see if he cracks up under that. We know that Sanders, he tends to hold the ball too much, and if he does that in the real game, he's going to look just like he looked the other day against the Rams. He's going to look bad. So it goes back to Deshaun Watson. If this guy gets healthy and these two guys are struggling and Flacco is out for an extended period of time, Watson's going to come in and he's going to get some snaps. And if he mess around and lead this team deeper than what they had been up to that point during the season, then Deshaun Watson's going to be the starting quarterback next year for the Cleveland Browns. Mark that down, I said it. That's if he wants to play. All right, so let me check this poll vote. I'm getting a little short on time here. Pickett is better off in Vegas. Most of you are saying yes. I'm thinking so too, because now he's the number 2 quarterback. So what he's got to do, he's got to learn that playbook, and because he's only one player away, just like Dylan Gabriel is only one player away. So these guys better be ready to go, man. All right. Greetings from the Dog Pound. How you doing, man? Selmo Fudd. Let me ask you something, Selmo. I put out a little short video about what the Dog Pound wanted, and a guy sent me a message say the Dog Pound was dead. I know doggone well the Dog Pound wasn't dead, man. It's just a symbol of the fans there. And I did this thing with Fango Media last year where I talked to the fans that come out of the stadium, and the Browns were in town last week, and I talked to a lot of the guys. They were cool, man. I met a lot of guys from the Dog Pound. That was great. You guys have a real love for your team, and I hope one day that you can turn it around. But unfortunately, I'm a follower of the Steelers, man, and we hope you guys get it straightened out, because we like to whoop you when you're 100%. I don't want to beat you when you're down, man. So good luck to you there, Selmo. Appreciate you chiming in. But Pickett, he's probably better off in Las Vegas until they get this thing straightened out. But I think that Deshaun Watson is going to be the guy that's the fly in the ointment, and he's going to make some kind of a difference toward the end of the year. Because at some point, Flacco is going to have to miss some time, and then we're going to see the truth about these 2 rookie quarterbacks. And, rookie quarterbacks don't fare too well in the NFL. It's going to be rough for them, man. And I don't wish him no bad luck, but that's just the way it is, man. But anyway, just to recap, I forgot to mention old Shiloh. He got cut or waived, and he's probably going to end up in Canada if he doesn't get picked up on the practice squad. But the practice squad is so big now that the likelihood of him getting picked up somewhere is good. So if he doesn't get picked up this week, he'll probably going to end up playing in Canada. But that guy that he threw that punch at, that man, he's trying to make a football team. He's a good tight end, and he can punt 50 yards. So he's going to make the team some kind of way. This guy, Jake Donaldson, I've seen him on that on the Bills Hard Knocks. I saw the game action, but I didn't know what all this guy can do. So Shiloh actually threw 2 punches at the guy. The first one he threw, it was a short right to the jaw. He kind of missed a little bit, but then he came back with that wild one, the one that he got caught. If he'd have just let it go with the first one, he'd have been all right. But that punch made it easier for the Bucs to get rid of him because they had already decided they was going to get rid of him anyway. They just had an excuse. Now, will they bring him back for the practice squad? It's possible. A lot of people are thinking so, but I think he's going to have to get down in another spot and try somewhere else. So, but to me, he's always been a coverage liability. And if I'm offensive coordinator, I love to see him over there because my game plan attacking down the field is going to go around him. I'm going to do something to him and have him pulling his hair out. He's just not ready at this point. And again, all the outrage about what's been taking place with the two Sanders boys is out of respect for Deion. But in reality, those two guys had a bad week last week, and now they need to bounce back and do something else. But Shiloh, he can end up playing somewhere. If nothing else, he'll be a good practice squad player, and he's going to be all right. Shador, he's got to keep keeping that playbook, man, and get ready to play because he's only 2 plays away, so he has to stay ready. But I think in time he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He just got to stop holding that damn ball so much. But that's my take on them. But Kenny Pickett off to the Raiders. A good move for them. Replace Aiden O'Connell. And Pete Carroll's going to find a way to win out there no matter who's at the quarterback. So keep an eye on what the Raiders do. But in the meantime, I got to get up out of here and go to work, man. I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. And I just had to come in and say what I was going to say yesterday. But I had the emergency pop up and I had to run up out of here. So now class is beginning, so I got to go to work. But one more look at this poll. Is Kenny Pickett better off in Las Vegas? I think so, because he automatically has a spot. He knows the team wants him, and he don't have to worry about what the Browns might do with all that overloaded quarterback. Tyler Huntley, I know he's going to end up somewhere, practice squad somewhere. And then you have Deshaun Watson. If they activate him later on, they're going to have to cut somebody. Nobody in the quarterback room seems to be in danger of that. Maybe they'll cut Joe Flacco. Who's to say? There's no telling what might happen in the NFL, man. But Flacco is going to start it out. He gets hurt. They have to play those 2 rookies. They struggle. Watson is ready to play. He's going to get some snaps this year. Mark my word on that. So until next time, all right, let me check this Selmo out real quick. Making moves, we got 10 draft picks for 26. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. What you're doing, it was all part of the master plan. Well, it might have been because, Stefanski has been taking a lot of heat behind how they were handling that quarterback situation. So if Shador can develop or Gabriel can develop, that would be great. But I'm telling you, if they struggle and Flacco is hurt, Watson is coming off the bench, and he's going to get some action this year. Mark my word. It don't take that long to come off ACL, and he didn't injure himself in the last game of the year. He got hurt with several games left. So I'm telling you, he could come back. Break Forever, how you doing, man? I'm on the way out, man. I got to get up out of here, man. This thing here will replay instantly after I get off, and I go back and listen to it and make some cuts off it later. And it'd be interesting. But most of you guys are saying that Pickett is better off in Las Vegas. So I agree. All right, unless there's some breaking news, I'll catch you guys later on. Until then, I'll be back on about 6:30 tomorrow. And I have some new updates about who landed where, and maybe I can get some shallow information for you. He's got a deal in place to go to Toronto. Is it the Argonauts? I believe so. And he can go there if he wants to. So we'll see. But all right. Peace out, Selmo. Break. Catch you guys on the other side. I'm out.